Hi there. I'm Beth Green, otherwise known as Granny Rocks. This is Sweet Baby Jeans, and I am very happy to welcome you tonight to Grow. Tonight I'm going to be talking about where did the topic go? It just disappeared. Oh well. Does that bother me? Yes, it does. I'm trying something new and it may not work. Okay, here's the topic. The topic is money. Money, 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 money. Is it the root of evil? Bliss, guilt, stress, what? And our reaction to all that. And Erica says, oh, good to be here, and it's so nice to have you. Oh, and Helen says, Richard and Helen are here from Coronado Island. Hello, Richard and Helen. And Bob said, hi, Beth and James. And hi back to Bob. So, before we go on, I'm going to introduce you to Sweet Baby James, who's going to introduce our show.
Well, once again, it looks like Granny's going to rock our world, talking about money. And so this is Granny Rocks Our World, otherwise known as Grow, which takes place every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. And Granny brings her wit, her wisdom, and her uncommon sense. So, Granny, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you. And everyone feel free to comment because I bet you're going to relate, or I hope you're going to relate. Okay. So, you know what made me start thinking about this? Well, I tuned in before the show and I asked my audience, whoever it is, telepathically, what do you want me to talk about tonight? And I heard money. So I'm going to talk about money. So there is so much to say about money. I could talk for months, but you wouldn't still be there. So I'm just going to talk.
You got to go out and earn more money.
Right, exactly. I was to talk for 15 minutes or so. So I think that, part of why I think that's on my mind and our mind is now we're in a full-blown trade war with China. We're loading up tariffs against them, and now they said they're going to load up more tariffs against us. And the Republican Party, the party of free trade, has given up every single principle because now they're supporting the president, even though they don't believe in tariffs. But I guess they do today. Anything that wins, which is just like one more sign of our corruption. The Democrats could be doing it, just so happens today it's the Republicans. But anyway, why is this important? Well, having a trade war with China isn't a neutral thing. It's hurting farmers, for example, and it's going to hurt a lot of people who buy cheap goods. And who buys cheap goods?
Poor people.
Poor people.
And middle-class people.
And middle-class people. And all of those of us who are trying desperately to hang on to whatever, and they're going to hurt a lot because no, China is not going to be paying for the tariffs. We're going to be paying for the tariffs. So it maybe doesn't matter to millionaires because they're buying Mercedes-Benz. They're not buying Chinese, cars. So anyway.
Or luxury items.
Exactly. So it's, and yet it's impacting everybody. I mean, it's impacting the stock market and so on. We have no control. So, maybe we need to think about this for a minute, this whole money thing and not be in la la land about it. So I started thinking, well, money is the root of all evil. You've heard that. And then I've also heard the best things in life are free. And right, it does seem a little bit contradictory. So I want to talk about that money. Is it the root of all evil? Is it the root of bliss and happiness? Is it the root of guilt? Is it the root of stress? And what else? And our reaction to that. And REA said, hi, Beth and James, lots of hearts. Love you back, REA. Thank you for joining us. So when we say that money is the root of all evil, I guess what is meant is that it's a corrupting influence. That when we focus on money instead of human values, we become very corrupt. But hey, don't think you know what I'm going to say on this show, because I'm going to get to the next point in a minute about that it's also, the best things in life are free. Oh, really? So, it does distort our values. I mean, we are just driven to make money. And then when we have it, we have to spend all this time trying to figure out how to keep it or how to grow it or how to use it or when to save it and when to spend it. So it's kind of like, oh, we have a fantasy about the simple life. Oh, yes. And then another way that money is the root of evil is there are people who actually try to pretend that it's okay that their focus is on making money and screwing everybody in order to do that. They get into this, well, hey, this is the real world, girl. You know what I mean? Like, join the real world. And so, when people get into that attitude, they're just pretending, they're blowing smoke. Inside they're all screwed up and distorted and have lost their way and don't have any values, but they have to pretend, you know what I mean? Because we feel guilty about being those kinds of. Do you want to be one of those people? Do you want to be a greedy? Do you want everybody to think of you as a greedy person? Well, if you are one of those people who likes to brag about how greedy and rich you are, and there are some of those people, that's a cover-up. Right? It's a cover-up for realizing that you have no values and you don't care about anybody. Like, I want to buy low and sell high and pay my workers as little as possible and all of that. And that makes me smart. It was just a way of pretending that we don't know inside that we're corrupt. Well, let's take a look at the other side, right? The best things in life are free? Really? Is that so? Okay, so what about love? I mean, love is free, isn't it? Sweet baby James could love me, well, is it really? Is love really free?
But to show my love, I must buy things for you.
No, it's not even that. I hear what you're saying, that is part of the corruption, and that's a good point. That people get focused on the money and they think that is the way that they show love or are loved. But what I mean is, supposing sweet baby James needs major medical and it's not covered by Medicare, which most stuff doesn't seem to be covered by Medicare, and so his life isn't free anymore. It's a lot of money, or to get really good food, or to get the dental care that you need to chew that food. You need money. Or let's say you're sitting in a freezing cold house because you can't afford to pay your power bill, and you want to be loving. Well, yes, let's all huddle together, everybody in one little spot. Or if you are poor and you're living in one room, and people need space because everybody is crazy and they just keep throwing shit out to each other. So where's the love? I can't have his love unless he exists, and we need money to keep him alive, and then we need money to keep me alive. There's my own medical expenses or my own needs, and some of us are special needs people. Like, as we get older, it gets harder and harder. Yeah, I don't know how I survived as a young woman, and I lived in these cockroach-infested apartments with bed bugs and all of that kind of good stuff, and no inadequate heat in New York City, and floors that were falling through, and the toilet in the hall that you had to knock over 20 drunks in order to get to. And I don't know how I survived that.
You mean step over? You couldn't knock them
over. No, I didn't really.
You had to step over them.
I did. I'm serious. And I know there are people who live like that today. And I honestly don't want to live like that. I don't think they want to live like that. It's kind of too bad, too sad. It's really hard to be happy and loving when you're besieged by, rats. And Deborah says, lots of laughs. Hi, Deborah. I'm glad you're laughing with me. Because it ain't easy, is it? To pretend, and then you have all that stress about how are we going to pay for this, and how are we going to pay for that, and how are we going to pay for the children's shoes. And so what happens to the love when you're just sitting there stressing out, worrying? And then, yes, nature is free, right? Oh, really? Nature is free? How many people have the privilege of living in a beautiful natural environment with clean air and clean water versus how many people are stuck in polluted environments where they can't get out of it because they can't get jobs in nature, or they can't afford the gardener, which is our situation. But you know what I mean? Well, we'll take a vacation in the beautiful places, and yes, you can go camping if you're physically capable of going camping, but you still have to get there, and then you say, well, another thing that's free is time with family. Oh, really? How many of us are so busy trying to make money that we don't have the time with family that would either make us hate them more or feel more loved? I mean, it could go either way. But do you understand what I'm saying? This thing is, you know, that song, the best things in life are free. Yeah, but everything that's free has a price tag. Even the air in our world, the air is so polluted that, you know, I mean, you go to some countries and you have to pay for oxygen, you know.
Or you have to pay to clear up pollution. You know?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Very good point. We have to pay to clear up the damage that we've done to the environment that makes it so toxic to us. So then what about guilt? Well, I've already talked about the guilt. Uh, Deborah said, no, it's not. And Deborah says, true. So I know if we're on the same page. And there's another, yes. So what about guilt? Now, I've already mentioned that we can feel very guilty because we've become so obsessed with money that that's all we think about. And then we're not seeing our husband or because we're thinking about how much he's making. And we don't care that our husband or our wife is dropping dead at their job because just work a little longer, honey. Can't you just work a few more years? You can do overtime because we're so desperate for money. So what's happening to that love? And then we get to feel guilty towards our partner or whoever it is, or we're trying to send our child out at the age of 2 to earn money in the coal mine. We feel guilty about that. But so that guilt is added to the alienation that we have from our loved ones, and that doesn't feel good. But there's other ways that we get to feel guilty. I mean, we feel guilty because we're all cruddy inside and thinking about, you know, money becomes so important, but we're also guilty because we didn't save enough for retirement. Do you know that I keep reading that you need $1 million for retirement?
Oh.
We're in trouble. And, you know, so let's say you've learned that, you know, one of the contradictory things is live life to the fullest. And Mary Chris said, hi, Granny and SVJ. Hi, Mary Chris. So glad to see you. So, yes. So let's say we were the kind of people who lived life to the fullest. I mean, we gave it our all. We followed our dreams. We followed our passion. And we didn't follow the money. And now we're of past retirement age. And who is retiring? I hope that you never get tired of me, guys, because I can't afford to retire. So we can, you know, there's that stressor between the people who tell us that we should, you know, live, because, you know, the fact is you could be saving money for a future that doesn't happen because you're so stressed out by saving money for that future that you're drop dead at an early age. And then what's the money for except your children, if you have any? Or the other side. Let's say you have saved, we have a little annuity, right? I mean, it's pathetic for, you know, people of our age. But anyway, we have something. Well, the stock market just dropped 600 pounds, you know, points or whatever it is. Kate Burns says, hi, Granny and SVJ. Hi, Kate.
Howdy.
So glad to see you. Hope you can catch up with this later because we, so supposing now you've got to manage this money, and now, oh my God, the stock market, we're losing our savings. We didn't get the things that we needed today. We didn't eat right. We didn't take care of our bodies. We didn't give ourselves time with our family. We worked ourselves to the bone. Now we have the money, and we just lost, boom, you know, like the people who lost it, the stock market crash, boom, or people who put money into their pension funds, and, oh my God, stress. Talk about stress. I'm just saying, is at the root of stress how much stress is caused by this topic. Worrying about the future, worrying about the present, worrying about the future and the present of our loved ones, worrying about the fact that we don't have any loved ones because we've been so busy worrying about money. So I have to say something positive on this topic. I hope that I've given you some thoughts to think upon about how you relate to money. But here's what I want to say. No matter what you do, it's wrong. So that means, because, you know, you might be frugal and then you'll have money later and you live a ripe old age. Well, okay, my mother was frugal and she saved money and she lived to a ripe old age, way riper than her savings could possibly cover. And then she ended up depending on her children to support her, and she felt guilty about that. Or you squander your money and then you feel really stupid. But, we never know what's around the bend. Whatever you do, it's wrong because we don't have a society that enables us to have a healthy relationship with money, because we're squandering it, we're hoarding it, we don't know what to do, we're stressing out about it. We don't have a safety net, guys. If we had a safety net for everybody, don't you think we would all be a lot more relaxed about the whole thing? I think so. So I think we should, don't be too hard on yourself. Take a look at yourself and say, do you get to be too hard on yourself because you're not saving enough? Are you too hard on yourself because you haven't lived your life because you were so worried about money? Have you been too hard on yourself because you put money first and you've lost love? Don't. It's not easy for any of us because there's no solution in a world that is not based on meeting the needs of humanity and the earth. And right now, I'd like you to think about somebody that you have a big judgment about money. Oh, I bet you can think of somebody in your family, somebody intimate, yourself. They didn't earn enough, they didn't work hard enough, they saved too much, they didn't live, they lost it, they were stupid, they bet on the horses, they put it in a business and it blew up in there for whatever. Think of somebody you have a judgment about money. And turn that into compassion. That none of us really knows what to do about money. Because it's built into our world. And less do people have any kind of security.
Now, there are some countries that do have safety nets.
That's right.
And so there is more income equality and security and a sense of relaxation.
Right. And those people are happier.
Yeah.
So, guys, let's hope that we can come together and work for a world that actually meets the needs of people and the earth, and that becomes the priority, and that we're not stuck in this paradigm where there's no win. And so let's not blame ourselves for the choices we've made, because when all the choices stink, it's tough. So please like this show, please share it with everybody.
Have compassion for yourself and everybody else.
That's right. That's right. Everybody needs to hear this, so please share it. And Margie says a lot of people live outside their means. That's true. But they have a reason for that too. And we need to be compassionate for why they do that. I'll tell you, I've been relatively comfortable, and I have been dirt poor. And I'll tell you which one I prefer.
Mm-hmm.
I like my air conditioning. I'm too old to live with global warming and no air conditioning or no heat, or, walls that are so thin that you can hear the people next door, no clean air, and junky old cars that are belching pollution that's destroying everybody else's health and causing everyone else stress. Kate said, so needed to hear this. Kate, I don't know if you know me, but before every single show, I ask the audience, what do you need me to talk about tonight? Telepathically, because I'm an intuitive counselor. And I heard money. So maybe I heard it from you, but I know I needed to hear it tonight too. So as
I think we all needed to hear about this.
Good. So as Sweet Baby James says, we're on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Margie says it's hard when they want you to clean up their mess, though. You are so right, Margie. You are so right. That's another source of stress. If they didn't need you to clean it up, you could be so much more compassionate. See, if we had a world that took care of people, you wouldn't have to do it all the time. Yeah. And people wouldn't be so taking drugs and alcohol and everything to calm themselves down from all the stress of the not. People don't know want versus need. Well, that's a whole other topic I can't get into, or I will never end tonight. But you know, as I say, please don't be too judgmental. So if you haven't listened to the whole show, try to, you can always watch it again. It's going to be on Facebook. And also Thursday nights at 7 p.m. because we're on 6:30 p.m. Pacific for Grow, and on Thursday nights 7 p.m. free. I will play the piano for you and send out my love and my good vibrations. But of course, that's not free either because you need a computer and you need the internet, and even the free things aren't free, right? But within that context, I do my best to offer as many free supports as I can. So tune in and listen to Dreams of Peace Piano on Thursdays at 7, and Monday, Wednesday, and Friday we have Grow at 6:30. This is all Pacific time.
And isn't there something else on Wednesday evening?
Yes, but I give up. So it's because we've got to go. We can talk about that another time.
It's on the Facebook page anyway, under events.
Yes, everything is under events. Helen says money is just like any other energy. You're right. It can be used or it can be abused. Bye-bye. Thank you for coming.
Bye-bye for now.